we first meet Apocalypse at the beginning of the movie, it's thousands of years ago at the height of ancient Egyptian civilization, and he is treated and imagined to be a god. And he has 4 horsemen that are around him who are other people with mutant powers, and they're protecting him and supporting him.
He was betrayed in ancient Cairo, and for him, that was meant to be the center of the universe. But the thing is a god if no one worships him? And so in the 80s, the first thing that he sets out to do is find followers, and he finds the 4 horsemen.
We've got Angel, Psylocke, Storm, and Magneto. All of them are, at some point in their lifespan, rejected, marginalized, and also feel like they don't belong to anything.
He can manipulate matter at a grand scale, he can block psychic power, he can do all kinds of things, but one of his greatest powers is his power of persuasion.
Come and see. He finds people that are in need, people that are in a very dark part of their lives that are searching for something. He zeroes in on these people and reads them and figures out what it is that they need to feel fulfilled, to feel strong.
In exploring the idea of who Apocalypse thinks he is, I not only studied religion, but I also looked at cults. And cults very often have 4 aspects to them. They have a political wing, a military wing, a youth element, and then often a sexual wing.
You don't know your own strength, but I do.
To me, Magneto was the political wing, because he always had a political point of view. Angel was a fighter, pure rage. He was the military wing. Young Storm is a street urchin just trying to scrap up a living. Very vulnerable. She was the youth wing, and the easiest to recruit. And then lastly, the sexual component, Psylocke. She knows what she wants, and she uses her sexuality to get it.
I want you to feel the full reach of your power.
We are all looking for someone or something to give us a purpose.
He is basically saying, you don't have to worry. I'm here. I am your god. If you treat me as such, you will reap all of the benefits.
What are you doing?
Making you stronger, my goddess.
We loved the idea of Storm being one of the horsemen because the idea of someone that we know to be a hero. Later on in the movies, seeing her sort of origin, be a villain origin, was interesting.
When I was casting Storm, to be really honest, I was looking for young Halle Berry. I couldn't say it any clearer.
Halle portrayed Storm in her goddess queenly moments, but for my Storm, she's a little bit more reckless. She's a little bit more emotion-driven. She's very confused at who she wants to be when she grows up.
He grabs her, he heals, because he can heal. Grabs her, and then she turns into Mystique, and that's when I'm gonna push it on you.
It actually wasn't a call that I got the role, it was a tweet, which was pretty exciting. I got a call from my manager saying, Bryan Singer tweeted something out and we're not too sure if it's for certain, so just hold on. And I was like, hold the phone. He tweeted me? Bryan Singer tweeted me, he tweeted me, are you sure? And so I got all excited.
Alex is great, and she's great to work with, she's great fun, and she's got a great arc in this storyline, and I think she's doing it really well.
We are looking for mutants. Since you know where to find them, we came here.
I have a Kenyan accent, which is not easy, and I'm super strict about it, and I'm always like listening to myself whenever I'm practicing at home and stuff, and it's just about getting the accent right. And then I'm speaking Arabic as well, which is super cool, but very hard.
Yeah, because the lesm can have like a little bit of a thing,
That
right?
lesm in the accent.
Lesm.
Oh my god.
Lesm.
Wow.
Lesm. You're just amazed by my Arabic right now.
Yeah,
360, you guys. 360.
As often as possible, Bryan wanted the costumes to look like the comic. And there was a particular Storm costume that I thought would work for her now. In the comic book, it's like an evening dress or something. Okay, well, she can't be in an evening dress, but the lines are there, the colors are there. And again, the references, what we see in ancient Egypt.
We're giving Storm some powers and abilities that she hadn't really explored before, and hopefully making her cooler than ever.
I'm really excited because in this movie, you really get a chance to see her fight with all of her might.
We had lots of interactive big, bright lightning strikes on set, which are incredibly bright. Whenever she comes out, you can tell we're about to start shooting her because the entire set would be flashing.
It's all about trying to choreograph that stuff, especially lightning, because it's like a 3-frame event. It's moving so fast that you can't just do it frame by frame. You have to run it in continuous motion.
There is a shot in this movie where she travels down a lightning bolt. It's a blink or you'll miss it moment. You'll see the silhouette of her coming down in the lightning bolt. It's a great heroic shot.
You know you can kill everyone in this room.
That's why when you come in, it's just more like, hey, I've got my hand on you.
Psylocke was an interesting one because that was actually a very late-breaking decision. That came very late in the process. And as the notion of both one of the horsemen, but just a unique character, she's got great powers.
At one point, we sort of imagined that the abduction of Charles would qualify as a fourth horseman. But late in the process, we were looking at the final sequence of the movie and the fact that the pyramid needed to be protected, and suddenly we're like, well, there's 4 sides of a pyramid, not 3. It'd be good for him to have 4 people that could protect him. We spent a lot of time looking on the internet and saying, what do you want to see in an apocalypse movie? And it seemed like the most popular choice was Psylocke, and it was something that Brian and I got excited about.
Horseman! Olivia Munn was literally the first person any of us thought of, and we thought was probably not somebody we'd managed to get, but thankfully she's a massive X-Men fan and was really excited by the prospect of playing the part.
She adores the comic book, and she loved the character of Psylocke.
Is this my stand-in?
Hello.
She's had a wig put on to match my natural locks.
This color looks amazing on you.
Thank you, I know. Lavender, ladies in lavender.
It's the 80s, in a lot of color.
Angel.
What I was going to say is that Olivia has taught me more about Psylocke than I knew about Psylocke, and that's been really helpful. So it's nice to have an actual fan acting in my film.
It's the coolest thing that has ever happened to me. It's a big honor, and she's a fascinating character, a telepath, telekinetic mutant, and she has this amazing ability to create anything with her mind, which is something that she uses when she creates her sword with her hand. Once I knock and I come back, it should be like right there.
Olivia has a lot of elaborate fight sequences, some that are quite dangerous, a lot of stunts she wanted to do herself, so she trained very heavily in martial arts and in sword fighting and all kinds of things.
I've never done sword work before, and I started doing all of the sword work and then wire and stunt training, and then going and doing taekwondo and karate and boxing. And so when I'm not on set, I have about 6.5 hours of constant workout.
She's been working non-stop since she arrived with her sort of blade work. I mean, at the beginning, it was non-existent, and now she's like, watch, I can do a backhand as well. And she's like flipping the samurai sword from hand to hand.
Her mixture of her physical samurai sword, which she sometimes likes to use, or her psionic blade, which she sometimes likes to use, which then turned into kind of a whip, is really kind of fun.
It's an energy bond formed between molecules that allows it to sever the bonds of lesser bound substances, which is mostly everything.
Great. All right, shooting.
We had Olivia Munn with an interactive light glove that would spill light on other characters. And we could use these interactive lights with her while she was on set.
Psylocke's costume is straight from the comic book. It's a latex suit made by a sex shop in Los Angeles. Okay, there. Okay, that's who made her costume.
Psylocke was always drawn in this very sexual way, but she always had substantive plot lines. She was a fighter, and she was skilled, and she was strong, and she's fierce. And it's important to me that it doesn't matter how she's dressed. It has no bearing on how strong and lethal she is.
You see the booze, you see the broken wing, you see the broken man, and you say, and then it's, let's go.
Angel's a character I think we've all really liked and thought belonged in the universe with us. And the idea of casting him as a really dark figure fit well to our story.
Angel is Warren Worthington III, who in the comics, he's like a billionaire playboy. I'm just so thankful to be taking on this role, such an iconic character.
I was looking for somebody who was angelic and very handsome, but also had a vicious side to them.
Ben is killing it right now. He has been working so hard at Angel.
He's been training like crazy to get into the right physical condition. He's adhering to a really strict diet, and his focus has been just very humbling to see.
I did train hard. I did train like 6 days a week and a lot of dieting and whatnot, just to try and look as superhuman as possible.
Ben always had to be aware that he was carrying wings, and he got quite good at it, and you can see it in his performance. But when you're watching it without the special effects put in, it looks quite weird.
I'm constantly reminding myself that I've got 2 wings on my back. How would that hold my posture? How would that change the way I stand? And sometimes I'll stand next to someone and I'll turn like that, and I realize I can't do that because my wings would just, knock them over.
The wings were incredibly complex. It turns out feathers are quite amazing things. There's a lot of different pieces to the structure of a feather, and the main thing is the lighting on the wings.
The organic natural feathers, although they look very regular, have really subtle variations from feather to feather. It's like fingerprints. No two are exactly the same.
The way the feathers work and flex against each other or pop out of place and then shuffle back in. These are all small bits that animation and lighting work together just to get it just enough real to sell it.
I want to give you something.
There's nothing you can give me that I want. When Apocalypse approaches him, he's physically weak. His wings have been crippled, and he's very angry to Angel. His wings are everything, he's so proud of his wings. So the fact that he's lost them is devastating.
He's going from an organic wing to a technical wing. His wings allow him to shoot these feathers as projectiles, which would be kind of useless if it were just real feathers.
Ben fully contorted himself and fully imagined that his body was being torn open.
Metal wings had a much bigger structure than his feather wings, so we had to devise a way to figure out where this extra structure was coming from. And we ended up popping his ribs out and bending them back through his flesh and then covering those with metal, which is a pretty intense scene.
The suit that he has as Archangel probably helps support those metal wings. I love my costume. First time I saw it, I was kind of in love with it. I love the gold flecks. I love the silver. I was kind of in awe of it.
His costume is a bit more delicate because he is in a lot of action sequences and flies more than anyone else. So we had to think about his movement and him being able to move.
In the transformation with this beautiful suit and the metal wings, these tattoos appear and his hair goes and he just has this strip of curled locks with the tattoo design. I made them from the ancient Egyptian alphabet all over his head.
One of the most startling things about this film, there's a moment early in the movie where you meet Magneto and he goes home to his wife, and there's something shocking in Magneto's eyes, something we've never seen before: peace. If Apocalypse had never come from the grave, maybe Magneto would have lived to a ripe old age with grandchildren and a pension plan and a normal, happy life.
I think the reason that he joins Apocalypse is because his wife and child have been killed in front of his eyes, and just as his mother and father suffered the same fate.
Is this what you want from me? Is this what I am?
And it's sort of a plea in a way. And then in the next scene, Apocalypse turns up to him. So in a way, it's almost like he shouted out to God and he got an answer, but not from the person that he thought he was talking to. It's just something of a much darker force.
I'm not here for them. I'm here for you.
When we were playing that scene, I always thought that he looks at the people in the factory and then he looks to Apocalypse and he makes his decision to join this person because he's so filled with rage and revenge.
Michael's costume is very beautiful. I thought of the Chrysler Building. There's a lot of deco-y references.
This is my favorite Magneto outfit to date. I think there's something very sort of Roman or Centurion-like about it that I appreciate.
This is a very character-driven franchise. It's the most important thing to the franchise, is getting great actors who commit to the drama of the movie. When I, as a writer, write those scenes the way I would write any scene of a man losing his daughter and losing his wife, another man feeling exposed, those are all the core themes of these movies. They just happen to manifest with the added detail of superpowers.